Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining in. What causes illness? The underlying cause of illness. Someone saw that I gave a community hour on this and wanted to know more, so I'm just going to give a short synopsis. So, according to the teachings of Bruno Gröning, our true nature, our who and what we really are, is healthy, happy, peaceful, good. That's how we were created. That's how God wanted it to be, wanted us to be. However, human beings, there's no other way to say it except to say it. Human beings followed evil. Specifically, Bruno Gröning said they listened to a voice outside of the unity and did what it told them to do. And from there, the connection to God was severed. So basically, since then, on this planet, evil has been increasing. And things have been getting messier and messier and messier, which includes illness. So, according to Bruno Gröning, everything not good, whether that be illness, life situations, suffering, all of it has one source, this force, which he calls evil. He also sometimes calls it Satan. He said Satan really exists, and that this force, evil, see, some people like to say, oh, it's ego, or which some people aren't comfortable with the word evil. Okay, but we just need to keep in mind how, if we call it ego, how dense, malicious, deadly, and vicious it is, right? Because if we call it, whether we call it ego or evil, it, depending on the term you're comfortable with, ego or evil, it's responsible for every amount of suffering and pain on this planet, which includes war and torture and rape and kidnapping children and just everything horrific you can think of. So I'm not really comfortable with using the term ego anymore unless I'm mindful of the fact that the ego is a killer and all the ego wants is to stay separate from God, to suffer and to cause other people to suffer. As Bruno Gröning, so eloquently and simply said, evil seeks to destroy. The good seeks to regenerate, evil seeks to destroy. So, that's that's the source of all illness, according to Bruno Gröning. He also pointed out that it can have an underlying, not so much secondary source, but a more specific form of evil. He always talked about fear and anger being very detrimental on the spiritual path. But he gave some specific examples. He once was talking about a woman who didn't like to listen to her husband, so she just kind of made this decision to not hear him. And over time, she actually lost her hearing. And he gives other examples like that, where we do something that's kind of off in a sense, and that it can have long-term repercussions. And that just being one example. But just like any teacher, Bruno Gröning says we reap what we sow. So illnesses and any sort of pain or suffering always comes back to something we've done in the past, or in the present, but some seed that we've sown, and not a good one. So that's the short version of the underlying cause of illness. And ultimately, it always boils down to some form of disconnection from God or the good. And the solution, according to Bruno Gröning, is always the same: faith and trust and following God. Now, that can include guidance to do certain things to help. But he was adamant that dwelling on, thinking about, talking about the illness would only interfere. In fact, he said treating the illness can really interfere with the natural healing process. Yet he simultaneously advised people to go see a doctor if they felt called to see a doctor. So in the end, it comes down to following guidance. Bruno Gröning didn't seek to have a following. He always told people to follow God. He just gave instructions for how to do that. Thanks. Take care.